Welcome to Business Beyond the Mic, where we join Carli Van Heerden, CEO and founder of We Edit Podcasts. Together, let's uncover the art of podcasting.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Beyond the Mic. I'm your host, Carli Van Heerden. Today on the show, we welcome back our resident guest, Jennay Horn. Now, everyone's talking about video and whether or not to start a video podcast. And I want to tell you, the reality is audio is not dead yet. So if you are on the fence and not ready to commit to a full video podcast, but you're looking for ways to incorporate video into your everyday podcasting routine, then this is the episode for you. During our conversation, we dive into 10 of our best tips for incorporating video into your everyday podcasting habits and the benefits of adding video, as well as some easy techniques to make sure you capture the right moments. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Jennay, welcome back to Business Beyond the Mic. It's so great to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me back, Carli. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so today we are taking on the big debate, to video or not to video. Of course, here at Business Beyond the Mic, we are a full video production podcast, and we have been from the start. But that might not be in the cards for everybody.
Exactly, because while you can certainly learn all that you need to learn for video, there is quite a sharp learning curve when it comes to creating a full-blown video podcast. You need extra time, extra equipment, extra editing time, and obviously a certain set of skills to really make a successful video podcast.
And of course, we would love to help you with that. If that is something that you want to do, we have incredible launch packages. And if you just want a little taste of it, you can even check out the launch episode here on Business Beyond the Mic. So we'll put all the links in the show notes, and you can see if maybe that is something that you want. You can definitely sign up, and we'd love to help you launch your video podcast.
Because video is such an important part of growing your podcast. It's a great way to diversify your content, grow your audience, and also just give so much more value to your community. But like we said, there is a sharp learning curve, and it can be hard to start a full-blown video podcast.
So like I said in the intro, if you are not ready for a full-blown video podcast, but you are looking for ways to incorporate video into your podcasting routine, your daily habits as a podcaster, then this is the episode for you. So in this episode, we've got 10 simple ways to incorporate video into your podcast. And it's going to be just easy ways, little techniques that you can use to start incorporating video into your daily habits right now, today, and you can just take it away. But first, let's go over some of the benefits for why you want to incorporate video into your podcast.
So if you are needing a little bit of extra motivation about why you should add video to your podcast process, we've got a few little motivators for you. First of all, like we said, video can just help you reach a wider audience. You can share it across social media, across all those sort of channels, and it just gets that much better engagement, particularly on platforms like YouTube. And that just allows you to reach a wider audience and let new listeners find your show. And then secondly, video is just got a much higher driver in terms of engagement, like we said, across the social media platforms. And there's also studies that show that video is twice as engaging as images and even carousels. So if that's not a push for video, I don't know what is.
So if those benefits are making it a little bit more enticing for you to start incorporating video into your podcast, I think it's time for us to dig into those 10 ways for you to do that. So first, start simple. Create audiograms for your podcast. Yes, I know audiograms are not videos, but it is a simple introduction into using video components for your podcast. And they're simple and easy to make because you can use your headshots, images from your podcast. You can switch it up all the time. And obviously with the captions and the subtitles and the waveforms, it is a form of video that you can easily start to create and use on social media, shareables, any way to get people hooked on your podcast, give them a little taste of what you're putting out there, and easy to start using today.
And programs like Headliner are fantastic for creating those engaging audiograms.
Absolutely.
But if we want to level it up a little bit, you can also look at creating videograms, which are super effective, again, on all social media platforms. And they're similar to audiograms. However, obviously, they've got video in them. And this could be a snippet from your actual podcast recording, or it can be something that you've recorded after the fact and you've throw in the captions. You've also got the waveform, and it's just a great way to really entice listeners to tune into your episodes, share it across your social media platforms. Like we said, video just does so well on those platforms, and again, drive new listeners to your show.
Yeah, and especially the component of using it with your guest on the show, because they can be featured in your videogram. It's something that they would want to share as well. And if you're highlighting sections of things that they speak about and important parts of the interview for them to share, then it's a great way to get that cross promotion and just have something really valuable for your guest to also be sharing on their side of social media or wherever they share.
So videograms, like we said, are essentially snippets of your episodes. And they're great, particularly for YouTube, because YouTube is making a push towards adding more podcast content there. And also their shorts. They really are trying to highlight short form video content on their platform. So if you've got videograms, then you've got an in to get your podcast content on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. So transitioning from those types of elements, one of my other favorite things is behind the scenes content. And this is absolutely just something that you can have fun with. It's easy to implement. You can use your phone, you can set up the tripod and find ways to just capture little moments of your day as a podcaster, as in your business, and whatever that you are doing every day that you're already doing, just capture it on film and make sure you're capturing the perfect little moments. And one of the tricks that I've learned is make sure that you're taking longer videos. That way you can find more little moments that you can use. You can repurpose that same video multiple times. And it's just a great way to really multiply the content and the things that you're already doing, putting it in video form.
I love that idea. And I love watching those kind of videos on social media. So it's definitely a great way to incorporate video with your podcast process. Now, another fun way to add video to your podcasting process, particularly if you have an interview podcast, is to record a Q&A with your podcast guest. Now, this can just be short videos. It doesn't require too much prep. And you could even consider making it a video series where you ask each guest the same question. And then you create a playlist on your YouTube channel, you share via your TikTok or via your Instagram. But then taking that one step further, potentially these could be things that you put behind a paywall, and your Patreon subscribers could then get access to these fun Q&A things that you've done with your guest. And particularly if you've built up that rapport with your guest, it's a fantastic way to look at monetizing your podcast.
Yeah. And it's absolutely like that bonus content that you've got waiting for your listeners, and something that's a little bit more value that you can add at the end of an episode, and something that your guests can also share as as a little piece that's not often seen in other interviews that they do. It could be something totally outside the box. It could be a personal take on their life. It could be, you can be so creative with it, because this bonus material can be used for an endless amount of things.
And again, remember the reason that you're incorporating video is to draw your audience in. It's to create that deeper, more connected relationship with your audience. And that behind the scenes Q&A, getting to know you better, getting to know your guests better, is just a fantastic way to strengthen that bond between you and your listeners, which is key.
And that informality is what I love, because you don't have to be so prim and proper and having your recordings and your things structured out. It can just be something fun that you do. And honestly, that authentic piece always speaks to your listeners so much more. And it's a great way to just have a bit of fun with your video. So on the topic of fun things, one of the other out-of-the-box ways to incorporate video into your podcasting routine is to have guests film introductions for you. So this is something that even I didn't really think about, but it's such a fun way to get them involved in being on your show. So this could be anything from them filming a little bit of a bio about themselves, or like, hey everybody, I'm going to be featured on Business Beyond the Mic, so make sure you tune in on this day and this day. And it just kind of builds a little bit of hype for your audience, for your listeners, and even for their audience as well. And just a new out-of-the-box way to get some great marketing material for your podcast. Because we're always saying, like, what are the best tips for marketing? Getting your guests to do intro videos can be an absolute hit when it comes to marketing your podcast before and afterwards.
And even just bouncing off of that, they could also be like, I'm so excited for you to ask me this and this question, or for me to share my knowledge on this and this topic. And now you've got a teaser that is going to be engaging. People are excited about your episode, and they're building that rapport with you and your guest.
Yeah, absolutely. Breaks the ice.
And speaking of teasers, that was a teaser. That's another great way to incorporate video into your podcast. create a teaser for your upcoming episode. Now, this could obviously be snippets from your episode that you put together after the fact, and someone like Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO does this superbly well. So if you want to take notes on anybody, that's a great one, but that's obviously done after the fact. And that can take a bit of work to put together, and obviously he's also got a team doing that for him. But another way to do teasers is for you to just sit in front of your mic, record a teaser, say what's coming up, drop a few hints about what you're going to cover in your episode, turn it into a videogram. All of those things make for great shareable content, entices your listeners, gets them excited, and fairly easy to pull off just with your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a fun way to just, if you're batching your content, you're already preparing ahead. So these are little things that you can drop ahead of time without having to worry about how am I going to fit this into my schedule, because you're already doing this during your batch recording time. And if you're recording your intros for episodes, these things, those intros can essentially be that summary that you turn into a little teaser video that you can use to promote that episode.
And even your behind the scenes idea, all of that becomes a teaser. And again, like Carli said, film longer videos, then you've got so much to share and easy to incorporate video and just get people ready and excited for your next episode.
Yeah, and they can come in different formats too, because your teasers, you can use templates that you find on Instagram for Reels or anything that you already see that's out there, or even make it a trend. It can be super easy to hop on a trend and use that as a marketing way, because then you know you're going to get the traction with the algorithm and it's going to be promoting your show. Now, as we're rolling with all of this extra, video content and ideas that you can use to incorporate video, the other thing that you can do is create supplementary video content that goes hand in hand with your podcast. But if you're only doing an audio show, maybe it requires the video component because you need visuals. Or whether you're doing like a really fun videogram with some graphics popping up, actual other video shots that you can incorporate, something that you are explaining on a whiteboard, or any of these ideas that you can do something fun video content, and you can use that to put it on YouTube or your socials, and just to reach a whole new audience that isn't necessarily focusing on that audio content, but they want something visual. They're visual learners, anything. And you can even batch this type of content and these videos into anything that you can monetize your podcast down the road with these videos that you create.
And thinking about packaging it, you could create courses, and all of this are just other ways to monetize your work that you're already doing for your podcast.
Exactly.
And from courses, you could also look at doing live events, which is another sort of broad way to look at incorporating video into your podcast. Now, a live event just opens you up to so many more opportunities, and there's so many things you can do for live events. Obviously, you could do a live recording of your podcast. And again, doing this virtually means that you've got no real costs involved. So again, it's just accessible to anybody with any sort of tech savvy sort of skills. Technology's really made this super easy for us. So do a live recording of your podcast, host a Q&A session with your listeners. Let them send in questions that you can then answer live. Use your Instagram, use Zoom, whatever platform you want to use. But live events are just a great way to add video. And again, the heart behind video is to build that connection. And being candid, being off the cuff, letting your listeners in on your process is a fantastic way to just really strengthen that community. Obviously, down the line, something that you can also monetize and really put on a good virtual show. And just another way to think about using video in a way that's not necessarily the norm.
So with all of these things that you're incorporating, you're really building up such an archive of content that you can use. And like we said before, you can package this and actually create video courses. So this is a great way to really get your audience drawn into something, again, behind a paywall if you need to monetize, or something that you can give away as a freebie for new listeners that join onto your show, and just somebody who wants a little taste of what you have to offer in your business perhaps. So these video courses are a really great way to connect. Again, we're going on that connection because video just does something totally different than audio usually does. But it's also to build on those live events. You can even do in-person events. And when you're doing these in-person events, you can have somebody recording, little snippets of what you're doing, or if you are recording a live podcast at the event, then they can have somebody set up a little tripod, even recording it on your phone, and then using those to generate beautiful pieces of content. And no low cost way of doing it on your phone, and just using fun templates and really great apps that you can use for your video. We actually attended an event previously, and they gave us a great toolkit for using video. So we will link that in the show notes as well. And you can check that out in the show notes. And hopefully it helps you to find your groove with video. Because after all, this is about creating habits and adding it to your podcasting routine, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to practice and keep doing, and finding your kind of video voice, if I were to say that, and just finding ways that work for you, because not everybody is the same when it comes to video, and maybe it's not for you in the beginning, but as you go through the motions and learn what's your best angle, how are you most comfortable on camera, then you can actually start to find it more enjoyable and find ways that you love incorporating video for you.
And I think the best thing about it is don't count yourself out from doing video with your podcast because you think you don't have the skills, you think you don't have all of those things behind you. Have fun with it. Try these different things. There's, we gave more than 10 ways that you can add video to your podcast, and have fun with it. That's the bottom line. And finally, yes, we've spoken about all the ways that you can incorporate video into different elements of your podcasting process. But obviously, the pinnacle is to start your own video podcast. And like we said in the beginning, if this is not something you've got the skills for, we've got packages, we've got an expert team who are passionate and excited to help you get your video podcast off the ground. And like we said, they are growing in popularity, so it is a very viable option. But it does require a little bit of extra equipment, skills, preparation. But if you're ready for that, take that leap or get our team to do it.
And if you incorporate all of these techniques and use them as ways to monetize your podcast, it'll pay for them for itself. And that is the sustainability component that we really are after, because this is your hard work and you need to be able to put it into practice and make it work for you. So I hope you enjoyed sitting down and watching us on this video podcast to learn more about how to incorporate video into your podcasting routine, make it part of your daily habits as a podcaster, and just try to have fun with it, because it shouldn't be something scary. It should be something fun. People are eager to learn from you, to see you in action doing everything that you do. I mean, think of yourself as a consumer of video. It's part of our daily lives. So I encourage everybody out there to start dipping your toes into the video scene and see how it can work for you.
And just embracing the fun of it. Remember, you don't have to launch a full-blown video podcast, but embrace the versatility that video brings. Embrace the creativity, embrace the fun that it allows you to have with it, and embrace what it allows you to do with your audience. You're able to connect with them on a way that audio on its own doesn't necessarily allow for. And this is just a great way to reach new audiences, bring new listeners in, and for you to also have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of it, it is about having fun with it, so that you don't have to have that scary factor of it. And it takes practice. That's the thing. Well, the more you practice, the more fun you'll have with it, and the more you'll find your video voice, like I said. But if you guys have any more questions on how to use video, how to incorporate it, what are some great first steps, don't forget to ask us, reach out to us, and we would love to hear from you. So definitely leave us some comments and we will get back to you and get you on your video road. So thanks, Jen, for joining us today again.
Thank you for having me.
And being such an incredible guest on the show, and basically the new co-host. And thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.